now it's time for our special guest in our feature. And I want to make sure everything's just right for her. Make sure this chair. Okay, because she's going to come up. Again, she has copies of her book. And if anyone's interested, these are signed copies that you can purchase. And I do have to reiterate, she is the founder of a LLC entitled Poetry Alive. Poetry Alive. I'm loving that title and the energy that comes with it. So let's warmly welcome her as she comes up at this time. I know she is ready. Are y'all ready? Carmen Gonzalez.
So you call me by my name. The moment I hear it, I faint. I don't know whether I go, whether I'm coming or going. Confused beyond the thought. I'm not sure. That's it. I'm that one. The purpose within, I drew the bag. I never thought for a moment that my life would have that purpose. I searched. Never a rest in sight. Confused, here I go again. Wondering whether straight is my path or behind me should I go. Behind me is familiar, you see. I know what's going to happen. I already got the storyline down pat. You ain't got to worry about that. But forward, there's a path, unfamiliar yet I must claim. Because the unfamiliar, the untouched territory, that's what I want at this point in my life. The new chapter, the new me, I'm not afraid. All I gotta do though, I gotta start the walking. I actually had to put my feet together and take the steps. But confused, I take the step back. Uncertain if my path will be successful. Uncertain if what's waiting for me is what I really want. My desire is just to live. Fulfillment may come. There's doubt. I should probably leave the doubt behind me, shouldn't I? Because forward arrow means success, forward arrow means new life, forward arrow means a new chapter. Why not reach for it? Confused. Where am I going? Should I come? Should I go? Should I stay? Confused. My mind is but in circles, spinning out of control. There is no door to shut it, I'm just enclosed. I'm waiting, patiently waiting for the answer, for the confirmation. But maybe I received and I just ignored it. Confused. There I go again, confused. I wonder if for a moment my life would change just a bit. If I take the step forward, why not? That's it. Hi everyone, my name is Carmen Gonzalez. I am the mother to 5 wonderful sons, 2 of which are in college. I am proud of my sons. They are my why. You know, people ask, why do you do what you do? I'm 42 years old and I am living my life. My children are my why. They are my everything. That poem that you heard, I had my best friend record because that was freestyle. That was a freestyle. Didn't write it before. This is the first time I do that a lot. I do that a lot, and I have my best friend record or my sons record because I'm like, wait, there's a download. There's always a download, and at the moment I was telling her there's a download, I feel it, so I'm going to go with the download. So as soon as there's a download, I just got to flow. But there is another poem that I want to share with you that is one of my favorite poems. Thank you. By the way, I am the CEO and founder of Writing Moves Me. This is my favorite poem because it has purpose. It has my purpose, if you will. The Call. Where would you go if freedom did not call you? Would you still have that urgency to succeed? It is your conscience that has been awakened. Your radar has been alarmed. Look around you. I know you sense that in the atmosphere. It's your freedom. Butterflies, open doors, paths paved for you. Your freedom. Take the breath of fresh air and breathe your last breath of bondage. For this new you, this fierce you, oh yes, yes, no one will compare. It's okay. Don't be afraid of your new identity. It's meant to be. It's a match made in heaven. It's a completed puzzle. There is no taking you down. Your strength has risen. For so long you felt like you didn't belong. You felt like you were all alone. This entire time, God was molding you for his solid perfection. The haters will hate, your attackers will attack, the enemies will attack. But this warrior that has been founded will stand the trials of life. It's like a baton. It's being shifted from hand to hand, trying to find that right fit. But when that baton lands in your hand, your feet begin to move and then your endless heart reaches for that goal. It's yours, but you knew it. It was from the beginning. There is no forcing it. You're a tower of strength, the plantation of growth. You are that diamond that surrounds the world above. You have received it. Your freedom. Never end your aggression. Allow your demand to just stand. There is no turning around from your victory. You're in a race. The race for your endless freedom. Never settle. You're too great for basic. Extraordinary calls you by name. Pack up and go and leave the past behind you. Expect the hurdles. Expect revenge. Just know, I need you to just know that your purpose awaits your passion. The Call. So this is my book. My eldest son, he is 22 years old. He created the design for me. I told him what I wanted. I gave him my vision, and he ran with it. He demonstrated that he can do it, and he came through for me. He came through for me. So I want to say that, my children are my team. Part of my best friend is part of my team, Bernadette Lee. I have my eldest son, who is the designer, graphic designer. My goddaughter is a part of the graphic design as well. One of my twins, I have a set of twins, they're 20. He's my agent. They're in school for sports management. They're in school for sports management, but he wants to be a coach, he wants to be a leader. So I said, this is the perfect opportunity to be your mother's agent. And he's been doing an exceptional job. Before I go into my next poem, this is called Poetry Alive, Understanding How Poetry Works. So I believe that poetry has been lost. Growing up, I remember reciting poem after poem after poem after poem in school. Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. I still remember that, and I was in 5th grade when we recited that. But nowadays, with all of my sons, ranging from 22, the twins are 20, 17, and 10, none of them come home to recite a poem. And I questioned, I said, well, what happened to poetry being taught in the schools? What happened to the Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet? What happened? I fell in love with that in high school. I was the oddball. Everybody was like, you like, what? Do you even understand? Yes, I understand what they're saying. But that was me. I say that to say that I am hosting my business launch on August 6th for Poetry Alive, because I need people to understand that poetry is not dead. It is not dead. It is fully alive. And I teach, when I coach, I tell people that poetry is an expression, it's an art. It is how you feel about something. It can be the table, it can be your heart, it can be whatever. It's just an expression that's in here that has to come out. And once it comes out, everybody understands how you feel. They may not understand you as a person. Why are you acting this way? Why do you do what you do? But they're going to understand you, your feelings, your emotions. Oh, okay. So that when I coach, that's how I coach. I coach my clients to know that it's okay to be you. Just accept you how you are. Once you accept yourself, then you're able to flow with the poetry. You're able to express yourself freely because now there is no hindrance. So I'm going to read, this is one of my favorite poems too. It's called Queen Bee. So when I wrote my poetry book, I'm more of a narrative poet. I tell a story. So my first book, I say my first because I'm working on my second poetry book. My first book is written in narrative storytelling form. My second one is more of a stanza, has more stanzas, verses and all. Queen Bee. Is it enough to lay down your happiness for another person? Whose decision would it be to allow one to die while the other has control? No one really knows the power invested inside unless challenged and proven. Dormant, one remains. Captured by the very fear that has forbidden lives to live. Stop. Pause for a moment. Realize who you are. A queen at heart, a beauty at birth. You are that woman that men envies because of the strength you hold. That woman that men wishes he has for eternity, for the faithfulness you bear. The way you walk captures the eyes of many. The way you speak impresses those around you. The attire you wear amazes that man to stare. So, I ask again, Queen, is it enough to lay down your happiness for another person? Whose decision would it be to allow one to die while the other has control? As you stand tall, the haters will hate, and those around you will begin to bow, for there is none like you. None that compares to the love that you give, the compassion that you share. Look around you. That lady that stares, she's confused about you, not understanding how every day you manage your chores with a smile on your face. Look around. You are that queen bee that for so long you were told you would never be. You have made it You come so far. Pick up that crown, lay it on your head. Walk the red carpet, for inside of you, inside of you, inside of you, great things lay. So some of my poetry has been inspired by a lot of trauma that I experienced in my life. And I'm finally able to speak upon it at the age of 42. I was married for 18 years in just an abusive relationship and 5 kids. I don't regret my children, but you know what? God brought me this far for a reason. I had to experience what I had to experience in order to find myself. So I got married at 19, so I didn't know who I was. I'm fresh out of high school, But you know what? Soon as I left, I was able to, thank you to my best friend who was able to get me out of the situation. And she said to me, with purpose, you can't be selfish because there are 5 kids, 5 lives depending on you. So I immediately got out, did what I had to do. So I'm living, had my own place with my kids. 2020, I finally began the healing process. And I began to write again. So writing for me is very therapeutic, hence writing moves me. So I coach, so I do a twofold. I coach for poetry and I also coach for victims of abuse or trauma through therapeutic writing. So that began my journey, and I published my first book on my birthday, March 30th of 2021. So that's why my book has been published, because it was therapeutic writing for me. The next piece, peaceful place. I think I'm in a place where I've accepted my situation. And now I am doing me, working on me and strengthening me, being that mother that I need to be, not for me, but for their sake. In a dark place long enough, struggling with acceptance and wondering, why me? Why am I not good enough? Why was I pushed to the side? I woke up early today and reflected on who I am in God. So it doesn't matter that my chapter ended, because a new book has started. Walking beside darkness, hand in hand at that, a moment of silence where it seemed too much. I had to shake it off. Or gone with the wind, I would have become. I can't say I am healed completely, but what I know is that I feel stronger today. A lighter load I carry. For I let go of cargo I couldn't change. I did not think for once I would get here. I thought sure that my life would just drift away with no meaning at all. I thought I was worthless, perhaps even nothing. But with the wind I felt this morning, I am okay. And accepted there is a new book being written on my life. It's not what others want for me, or even what they expected of me. But I first had to learn that happiness is not in man. Rather, happiness is in God. So I am proud to say I have let go of many things. And this new book will reveal my strength I possess inside. I I will be that mother. That woman so many doubted me. I am living today because I made a decision. One that would change life course forever. And now I am at peace with myself, knowing I will make it. Peaceful place. So I have different emotions in this book. So in every season, there's a poem in here for every season. I've written poetry for my sons, just a mother's love. Poetry for my best friend is in the book. For my siblings, I have 7 sisters and 1 brother. So in my darkest place, coming out of my darkest place, victory, defeat, love. I have everything in my book. Because that was a mixture of all of my emotions and everything that I was going through in 2020. And that's when the quarantine, COVID first started. And it was a shift. And I believe that happened for a reason, because it was the beginning of my shift. And I always state that God does, Ecclesiastes the 3rd chapter says there's a time and a place for everything. I don't mean to be preachy, but there's a time and a place for everything. There's a reason for everything under the sun. Everything happens for a season, right? You wake up, you cry, you stop crying, you live, you die. I'm not going to, you know the word, right? But that's my favorite scripture, because it took me back to Ecclesiastes the 3rd chapter, where it talked about the different seasons. And there's a time for everything under the sun. And we can't question God, even though I did. We can't question God, because God knows your heart. He has your best interest at heart. So with all that said, this one is Eagle's Wings. Upon wings I sit all day. Strength I have, courage I lack. Release is coming, I sense it in the air. I cannot bear this pain alone, wounded and abused, mistreated, confused. I need these wings to stretch as far and as deep as possible. I no longer want the routine, the ruts of living just to make it through. To wake the same and be the same. These wings I have developed have allowed me to stretch a little at a time. To reach deeper than before, to imagine and practice new life with happiness. I want to fly. I want to fly above the world, above the earth. I just want to fly. I want to go where I have never been before. To stretch my wings and breathe again, to venture to a destiny that has been waiting for me since the beginning of time. Don't just sit there and watch me fade. Don't allow me to dissolve and decay. Speak a word. Reach out and grab me, hold me up. Please don't let me fall. I have been wounded way too long. Quench my thirst, provide healing for my heart. These wings I have, I will fly. I will fly again. Believe in me. Please believe in me. So that I myself can believe in me. Don't let go. Don't fade away. Don't allow me to be a shadow in the night and a vision during the day. Allow me to spread these wings, to stretch and go wherever I please. Trust in me. I can do this. I will fly. I will fly again. I will conquer and sit in my throne of happiness, peace and joy and satisfaction. I will fly. My wings will spread wide. I will be all that potential will allow. At the end, victorious I will become. That is Eagle's Wings. So I know as women, sorry men, just going to talk to women for a quick second. I know as women we wonder why things happen in our lives, right? And we wonder sometimes, is there such thing as true love? Is there such thing as just being loved? Or even, is there fate, right? Or even, is there an end to this madness? So I've written a poem about love. Love is a word that carries a lot of responsibilities. It is supposed to take the hurts and the pains away and replace them with security and protection. Love speaks volumes when done from the heart, because true love doesn't hurt. Instead, it wraps its arms around the loved one. Love conditions and interacts with compassion, with care. Love for me isn't just a word any longer. Instead, it wraps itself in action, which creates a safe haven for both. Love never takes for granted, nor does it get comfortable. Love takes work and patience and appreciation. True love is handled with fragile cargo to ensure that the loved one we love never goes anywhere. Love takes compromise, understanding on both sides. True love will conquer what hatred will never. True love will last beyond all other. When anger just lets go. That's love. So I have another poem. Sorry. These poems that this one here is in my next book. The Call is in my next book as well. All right. So I know I don't really have to defend this poem, but just for explaining sake. So I've experienced a lot of pain. I've experienced a lot of disappointments and, a lot of ups and downs. So with this poem, well, I guess I just have to read it. Okay, I guess I just have to read it and you'll understand. I should have known you were fake. I should have known my heart you would break. You battled me from day one. But because I fell in love, I stayed and took the pain. You constantly hurt me. You abused me worse than the punch or hit I could take. I was desperate for love. I saw past the red. I knew it was wrong, but inside so right it felt. My fantasy spoke perfectly. The reality, you were toxic. You showed me love, then took it away. You demonstrated you cared, then you disappeared. You entertained other women, and yet and still I remained. You were very aggressive and ignored me for days. Your pride stood in the way of the man I believed you could become. You tried best to turn me into a person you wanted. Without even realizing, I was slowly dying. My courage was murdered. My self-esteem died. You are the very thing no woman should ever come across. Toxic. I pondered and wondered, why me? Why was I chosen to go through these pains? Emotionally, mentally, you broke me. I wanted nothing more than to be your your everything. But all you wanted was between my legs. Crushed, terrified, I became. Worrying that one day my best would not be enough. It happened and now I'm here. Going through the motion of healing and desperate heartaches. I sit and stare as I wait for liberation. As I wait in silent motion for the whisper to lead me. Enclosed, prisoned, I became. How many more do I have? Can I read one more?
Yes.
How about our freestyle? The aches, the pains, I wonder when. When will deliverance become my name? Do I have to stay just in case you want to break? I hear a whisper, God, is that you? I need a direction, but is that you? Am I hearing things or is that really you? I lost the faith because the turmoil was too much to bear. Faith, hope, where are you? In silence I seek you. No entrance, no exit, no light at the end of my tunnel. I guess alone I'll remain with a whisper from the pain. The memories uphold everything I've bared. Release, troubled by the care. I've captured every moment. I even stared. I stared the pain in the face and said, not today. But still, it hurts. I looked at anger and said, leave me alone. But yet and still, it remains. No idea what to do. But before I go, I know that release has to come in one way or another. Which form, I don't know. Don't have the answer for you. All I know is the decision has to be made to be new, and I mean brand new. That decision has to come from within. No one can convince me that I must go and start a new life. I have to know it within. But I'm not there yet. How do I get there? Where do I build my confidence? I look around. There's emptiness. Who's going to fill my cup? There's no one there. Alone I stand. Release. Hope. Esperanza, are you coming? Esperanza means hope. Are you coming? Nowhere near. I call a few more times. Alone. Darkness closes. Walls crumbled in. The tower falls. My desperate heart aches. I stand, but I know that this too shall pass. Thank you.
Let's give another applause for Carmen Gonzalez, her presentation, her poetic deliveries, and just sharing excerpts from her book and even the book that's yet to be released. We're excited. Thank you. So you gave us a sneak peek tonight. Thanks so much. So I want to say again to everyone that was a part of Open Mic, you did justice. Okay, you did justice, and each of you were unique. That's what just made everything that much more special. You brought your uniqueness front and center. We love and appreciate that. Continue to be passionate. That's my message to every one of you. Poet, spoken word artist, lyrical genius, whatever you call yourself. Continue to be passionate about what you love as a writer and as a creativist, right? Because this is all creativity at its finest. This is Lenni Speaks. Lenni Speaks, and we do this every third Thursday. Every third Thursday. We don't want you to miss out. There's always going to be we'll always have open mic, period. That's a must. But some months we may have features, some months it'll just be straight open mic. So just come if you're a writer, if you've written a poem, or maybe if you want to share a poem that you've never shared before with a live audience. Come on, test it out, test the waters, see how people are responsive to it, okay? That's what this is all about.